question is about my business mistakes. How much time do you have? Well, the interesting thing about the mistakes is that in investments, at least for me and for my partner Charlie Munger, the biggest mistakes have not been mistakes of commission, they've been mistakes of omission. They're where we knew enough about the business to do something, and for one reason or another, we sat there sucking our thumbs instead of doing something. And so we've passed up things where we could have made billions and billions of dollars from things we understood. Forget about things we don't understand. In fact, I could make billions out of Microsoft. Doesn't mean anything because I never understand Microsoft. But if I can make billions out of healthcare stocks, then I shouldn't make it, and I didn't. You know, when the Clinton healthcare program was proposed and they all went in the tank, we should have made a ton of money out of that because I could understand it. And I didn't make it. I should have made a ton of money out of Fannie Mae back in the mid-'80s because I understood it and I didn't do it. Those are billion-dollar mistakes or multi-billion-dollar mistakes that generally accepted accounting principles don't pick up. The mistakes you see, we made I made a mistake buying U.S. Air Preferred some years ago. I mean, I had a lot of money around. I make mistakes when I get cash. Charlie tells me to go to a bar instead. You know, don't hang around the office. But I hang around the office and I got money in my pocket. I do something dumb. And it happens every time. So I bought this thing. Nobody made me buy it. I now have a 800 number I call every time I think about buying stock in an airline, and they talk me down. They say, you know, I say, well, I'm Warren, I'm an airaholic, and then the guy says, you know, keep talking, don't hang up, you know, and don't do anything rash. And finally, I get over it. But I bought it, you know, and it looked like we were going to lose all our money in that, and we came very close to losing all our money, and you can say we deserved to lose all our money. And we bought it because it was an attractive security, but it was not in an attractive business. I did the same thing with Solomon. I bought an attractive security in a business that I wouldn't have bought the equity in. So you can say that that's one form of mistake, buying something because you like the terms when you don't like the business that well. And I've done that in the past and probably do it again. The bigger mistakes, though, are the ones of omission. I did back when I had the $10,000, I put $2,000 of it into a Sinclair service station, which I lost. So my opportunity cost on that's about $6 billion right now. Fairly big mistake. Yeah, it makes me feel good when Berkshire goes down then because the cost of my Sinclair station goes down too. My 20% opportunity cost. But I will say this: you talk about learning from mistakes. I really believe it's better to learn from other people's mistakes as much as possible. But we don't spend any time looking back at Berkshire. I've got a partner, Charlie Munger. We've been pals for 40 years. We've never had an argument. We disagree on things a lot, but we don't have arguments about it, and we never look back. We just figure there's so much to look forward to that there's just no sense thinking about what we might have. It just doesn't make any difference. I mean, you can only live life forward, and you can learn something perhaps from the mistakes, but the big thing to do is stick with the businesses you understand. And so if there's a generic mistake of getting outside of your circle of competence and, you know, buying something because somebody tips you on it or something of the sort in an area you don't know anything about, I mean, that you should learn something from that, which is that you stay with what you can figure out yourself. I mean, you really want your decision making to be by looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, I'm buying 100 shares of General Motors at 55 because. And I mean, it's your responsibility if you're buying it, and there's got to be a reason. And if you can't state the reason, you shouldn't buy it. If it's because somebody told you about it at a cocktail party, not good enough. You know, I mean, it's got to be something. You know, it can't be because the volume, you know, the chart looks good on it or anything like that. It's got to be a reason you'd buy the business, and we stick to pretty carefully. That's one of the things Ben Graham taught me.